right, a couple of weeks ago, East Carolina dismissed head coach Mike Houston, and suddenly, although I think I know why, the Pirates' offense has kicked on. They have won 2 in a row. They are 1 win away from bowl eligibility, and tonight will play in Tulsa as 2 touchdown favorites. What? Patrick Johnson, 94.3 The Game in Greenville, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. All right. I mean, I realize they played arguably the 2 worst teams, or 2 of the worst teams, in the American Athletic Conference in Temple and Florida Atlantic, and a contender for that, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane, is tonight's opponent. But is there something different about the Pirates the last couple of games?
I want to know, first of all, that song, Woof.
No, what do you mean, woof? What do you mean, woof?
Awful. What do you mean, why can't you say that about Jason Kelce? I'm sorry. I will respectfully agree to disagree. Woof.
Gosh. I'm not even sure we can continue.
Second of all, what do you think is different? I kind of want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, no. I mean, look, they're scoring. Okay. Here's what appears to me, and this is sort of a blanket. You can apply this to anywhere. When you know that there is a lot of pressure on the head coach, and you know, as a player, you can sense that, and it impacts the way you play because you're trying so hard to, whether it's to save somebody's job. Save your spot on the roster, on the depth chart. It becomes more difficult to perform. And maybe just the relaxation that, all right, all of that's over. All expectations are out the window. We're not playing for anybody's job right now. Blake Harrell's, I don't know if he's going to get the job or not. Probably not. John David Baker, maybe the whole staff is gone. But now it's like the pressure is off, and I do think the competition has something to do with it.
Well, the competition has a lot to do with it. But I mean, here's the thing, Adam. Had Mike Houston stayed on, they probably would have won those games, but they wouldn't have probably been scoring these kind of points. I just think his mentality was so conservative, run the football, which at East Carolina, you're not made it really constructed to do that. They didn't go out and they weren't a shopper in the portal for offensive linemen.
Right.
And and win it with your defense. Well, I mean, it's an offensive game, as we know, Adam.
Right.
So, I think what is happening is there is a looseness about the team. They're letting it ride. John David Baker's come down to the sideline. That's apparently inspired the offense and has allowed for some greater adjustments. Little things. Blake Harrell is kind of letting them have fun the night before a game, doesn't have them sequestered in meetings. They still are at a team hotel, but they're doing more team activities, if that makes sense.
Right.
They don't come out by position group or trickle out to the practice field. They do their team or position meetings, and then they do a big team meeting, then they go out as a team to the practice field. So there's just more of a sense of, all for one and one for all maybe than existed before. And what you said, a lot of it, too, was spot on. I think there was just a lot of pressure, self-induced, but also I think just the kind of shadow that Houston was casting over this thing with the pressure he was kind of putting on himself, the pressure that, he felt he was under. I think all of that kind of blanketed this program for the beginning of the year, and they look like a totally different team now. It'll be interesting tonight, Adam. This is the first road game.
Yeah.
For Blake Harrell. A little easier to do this at home when you, in some respects, and you've had a week off in between the 2 games. And now, a shortened week, even though they played last Thursday, and you go on the road. I'm really anxious to see how they come out tonight because there are more people statewide listening to the Adam Gold Show than will probably be in the stands tonight in Tulsa.
Well, maybe I'd love to see about 50,000 people in Tulsa. That would be very comforting. By the way, I have heard, and I'm not an insider, Patrick Johnson, 94.3 The Game in Greenville. You're more of the insider than I, but I have heard that the team has listened to Maybe This Christmas by Travis Kelce and Stevie Nicks before games. I've heard.
God, I hope not.
I can't confirm it. I can't.
I'll say this. If you gave me the option to wait around Tulsa, Oklahoma all day or listen to that on repeat for about 6 times, I'd take waiting around Tulsa, Oklahoma all day.
Oh, my gosh. Well, there's a lot to do.
That Tulsa King. Have you ever seen Tulsa King?
I have not. I have not watched it. I can't. Can anybody understand anything Sylvester Stallone says at this stage of the game?
With subtitles. You can watch it with subtitles.
Okay, if I could get that, it's like a foreign language. They should teach Stallone in school. Patrick Johnson, 94.3 The Game in Greenville, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So, with where the Pirates program is supposed to be, not where they are, but where they're supposed to be, the status within the community, within the universe, alumni, within the sport itself, where are they looking for the next guy? Does Blake Harrell stand a chance at being the next guy? So kind of fill me in on where we are there.
I think tonight could go a long ways in determining what happens with Blake Harrell. He wins tonight. He's 3-0. You go to North Texas after that. Navy is not as daunting as perhaps they appeared to be at one time. I mean, I certainly think Navy's a better team right now. Their record's better, but they've shown some cracks the last few weeks. So I don't think that's quite the task that it was, originally looking like it might be the day after Thanksgiving. So the thing about Blake Harrell, theoretically, you'd save some money. And look, whatever happens with this House decision, East Carolina has kind of made it known they're going to be as full a participant in the American as they can be with the revenue sharing. So some of that money could be applied towards that. So from that standpoint, you do save some money potentially with Blake Harrell being the coach. I host the coaches show, Adam, on Monday nights. We're at a local establishment, Tiebreakers in Greenville, and every time Coach walks in, he walks in the front door, doesn't walk in some back door, that kind of thing. He walks in the front door, just like an average guy. I mean, he's a heck of a guy, Blake Harrell is. And every time the fans that are there, which we've had huge crowds since he's been named the interim coach, they applaud him. He gets an ovation when he walks. It's like when Adam Gold walks into the Lenovo. A big ovation.
Huge. So, enormous. Yeah. Fortunately, I get there. Nobody's there. So, and everybody who is there, the security people, they're already standing. So I nod my head, I wave to the crowd.
Yeah.
I do all of that. I know.
To answer your question, I think Blake Harrell will know more tonight, possibly after next week. But I think, this is the nature of it. They're having to do their other due diligence on other candidates. There's, there's rumor they've reached out to this person. There's rumor they're interested in that person. Certainly Joe Sloan down at LSU being an alum checks a box. Garrett Riley has a connection here. He may end up somewhere else. Who knows? And then you don't know what Helton at Kentucky. He's got the connection, or Western Kentucky, excuse me. He's got the connection with the AD, John Gilbert, from being at Tennessee. So there's a little bit of that that's out there as far as names, and that's been a tight one. Our friend Stephen Igo, my colleague Igo, we're going to talk to him. We're actually doing our pregame show early today in about 30 minutes, so after the Adam Gold Show on 94.3.
Oh, look at this. What a lead-in.
Yeah, so it's a huge lead-in. And so we'll be on, and then we'll kick it up to Coach Logan, and we'll get some campfire stories of days of yore with Coach Logan, and then we'll have the game tonight. So it's a full day, and I got my third straight ESPN Plus broadcast tonight. I got women's basketball tonight, so it's just it's busy.
You are everywhere, Patrick Johnson. Before I let you go, let me ask you this question. This is big picture about the university, I guess, at large. Where are they, do you think, with regards to participating in the House versus the NCAA settlement?
Well, as I say, the indication that I have gotten, and off the record conversations, on the record conversations. They're going to be as active a participant in, the revenue sharing as they can be, as they can be in the American. I'm anxious to see what the other schools do in the American, and see kind of how that. I had volleyball last night. Charlotte was here, and that's a sport they don't fund at the level that other American teams do out in Charlotte. And I mean, that's certainly their prerogative. They know their situation out there, but it's just little things like that. It just kind of makes you wonder. I really like the direction John Gilbert, the AD, has things going. He's done a really phenomenal job at fundraising. He, publicly doesn't get too high or too low on these things. I mean, he looks at it with a real analytical mind. And look, the Chancellor, Stephen Rogers here, or Philip Rogers, Philip Rogers, the Chancellor, a Greenville native originally, and is a huge sports fan. So from that standpoint, he's all in. The AD's all in. I know the Board of Trustees are all in. They'll do what they can do. They're going to be able to do what somebody in the ACC would be able to do. Certainly not. But, they're going to be as active a participant in that as they can be. But, I mean, nobody really knows right now.
Yeah. Nobody
knows. And that's sort of the thing. They've been robust in their team Boneyard NIL. They're working on that right now. I'm not saying this was the reason Mike Houston was dismissed when he was, but, certainly the NIL boosters had spoken. They were not happy with giving any more money for what they were seeing. And so
right.
I'm sure that factored into the thing. So, yeah, it's kind of where we are with this, and it's a wait-and-see game is ultimately what happens with House. But it's the rev share and all of that, that's a big thing, Adam. And all indications are East Carolina is going to be able to participate. At what level, we will see. But I think they're going to try to be as strong in the American with that as they possibly can be.
Yeah, what people need to remember is that the 21 or 22 million is a cap. It's not you must. And it'll be interesting to see what schools, at East Carolina's level, either within their conference or even at their level in other conferences. Like, it'll be interesting to see, is Duke or Wake Forest going to contribute all the way to that $20 million threshold? That's we don't know.
Yeah, it's a story for another day. But I mean, in the ACC, what's BC going to do?
Right.
What's Pitt comfortable with? I mean, there's and look, I get a lot of NC State, calls and texts and emails and what have you, messages. I wouldn't say that's a slam dunk. They're going to go in 22, but I mean, that's people don't understand. That's a huge bite. That's a huge, and it's recurring, Adam.
Right.
The same thing with this NIL. It's all recurring.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a game changer for college athletics, and I don't think necessarily a good way. I'm all for players getting money, but
absolutely.
This is also a lot of this is back pay. Patrick Johnson, 94.3 The Game. It is. A lot of it is back pay. And you are
back pay the wrong guys. They need to back pay the guy from the 80s with nothing.
That's right. It's crazy. You're on the air in 28 minutes, so say hi to Coach Logan for me. Say hi to Steve and Igo for me, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, Adam.